Cause I'm about that. Cause I'm about that. I'm about that come up, running up on them fools that are talking foolish. Try to get them funds up, killing them mics just like I ran a jewels in. Y'all gonna get done up front, knowing that kid with an attitude, but you can't really blame this motherfucker for what he had to do. I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIP for all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that finish what I started, I'm about that.
Top down like you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we ride. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down like you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we ride. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Know that I'm about it. Want it, man, I can bring the drama. But it ain't by chance I'm fucking rapping. You don't really want a problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping like I'm starving. Yeah, y'all gotta ask who the man is. Hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. I'm about that.
Top down like you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we ride. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down like you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we ride. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
All right, Q.
All right,
trying to
go
get
ahead, bud.
All right, I guess I'm in charge today. Welcome to the Power Hour. You got Billy, DJ, Jamie, Jeff, Paul coming in sideways, and Ty. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to make it work. So we're figuring it out. It's Veterans Day though, so happy Veterans Day, everybody.
God bless America.
This is fantastic because this is going to be the most we've ever heard Quinn speak on a show before.
Thanks, Billy.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks, Billy. I appreciate it. But
We're here for you, though. We're here
yeah,
for
hey, well, good, because I don't know what we're talking about because I'm uber prepared for this as always.
Well, it's Veterans Day. We should go thank some veterans that we know.
Yeah, absolutely,
Who's
Billy. Go
your
ahead, start it
favorite
up.
veteran? Who's your favorite veteran?
My favorite veteran is my buddy Ryan Williams. He was in the Marine Corps. So that would be a big shout out to Ryan Williams. He watches the show from time to time when he can, when he's not working. So maybe he's not working today and he's enjoying his day off. And hopefully he's doing some things he wants to do, celebrating the Marine Corps.
Jamie, what about you?
I guess I'll go with my grandpa who is now passed. He served in the Army, and my great grandpa, he's obviously also passed, and he served in the Navy.
Thanks, Kate. I appreciate it. Jeff, what about you, buddy?
Well, I just don't have one. I have like five. I have my buddy Jared Miller, my buddy Jordan Rezo, and my buddy Josh, and also one of my good dad's friend. His son served TJ Yerke, so thank you for your service.
Paul?
My one buddy Larry, he was in the Air Force for 6 years. So, I would say him. He was a veteran I'd like to thank. I mean, and there's a bunch of veterans here in the school, too. There was they named them this morning. It was 5 teachers in the high school that are veterans, a couple Marines, some Air Force, Army. So, thank them, too. I see them in the hallway every day.
Ty, what about you?
I'd probably say my grandfather for sure. He's now passed as well, but served in the Army. Was involved with World War II. Was part of the second wave that went on to D-Day and down on the boat. So, yeah, a lot of cool stories my father tells me about him. Didn't really get a chance to know him all that well, but yeah, definitely seemed like a cool dude.
DJ, I don't know if you're a part of this or not. I guess are we going with you?
You hear me?
Maybe not. I hear you. Don't see you.
All right. I'm in the beautiful geographic of South Ridge. Until I get a better, I guess, I don't know. I don't even know. I'm not even getting a signal, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. But what are we doing? Best veteran, our favorite veteran?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of them. I mean, every single one that is sacrificed. I know it's tacky, but everyone that is sacrificed for me, for my family, that I either know or I don't know. I worked for a military company for about 6 years, and I met some of the best people I've ever known to this day, because ultimately when you sign up on that dotted line, which is a coincidence because it's National Letter of Intent Day for colleges and athletes. But when they signed up on that dotted line, they did so to defend our freedoms, to do everything for us, for those who were not able or chose not to. So thank you to all the veterans out there. We do it because of you. We do it for you, and hopefully that you can appreciate the freedoms that you've helped carry out on this Veterans Day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to go with my grandfather. He was in the Navy, big part of my life, and he fought in World War II. So that's my grandfather, and that's what I'm going with. You know what? I got another one. I just thought of another one. I'm going to go with Tristan Reynolds too. Wow. I kind of know what it's like now, DJ. I don't like with the dogs. Dang.
I forgot
terrible.
my uncle. My uncle. I apologize. My uncle too. He was in the Navy for like 30 years. So.
Wow.
On Lift Rentals and Sales is locally owned.
Jesus.
Yes, Jamie.
Brian's working on the computer right now, so
I'll tell you what. For the first time, it's not me because I don't know what I'm doing with this stuff. So I'm not going to click on anything.
We're going to talk about the fate of college football right now and how.
Look at that, Ty.
Yeah,
Perfect
there you
segue.
go. No, we're gonna because there's a lot of things. SEC is getting real bad too as far as college football is concerned. Do we think it's actually going to complete the season? Are we going to have the playoffs, or how's that going to be able to work?
I don't know. You start it up, Ty. I'll let you go. I'll let you run with it.
I don't know, man. It's hard to see because, I mean, if they already put these requirements on some of these teams, they have to play a minimum number of games. And if these teams can't meet that minimum requirement, they're going to be ineligible. So the playoffs are going to be looking really weird. I mean, we've already seen teams like Clemson, who are normally going to be in the top 4. They're not going to be there anymore. Probably not, now that they suffered a loss, depending on how they rank them. But, I mean, if teams start having players go down, the top 4 for the playoffs is going to look really different this year.
I think Clemson just dropped the 4. They went from 1 to 4 after that loss to Notre Dame. So, I mean, they're still there, but going with other games going forward, how long are they going to? I think it's hurting some of the leagues that started late, because now all of a sudden you started later than some of the other ones, and now you're catching the flack because if you start getting these games canceled, then you're like Ty said, you're not going to be able to finish enough games to be qualified for the playoffs. And I mean, it's not looking good.
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll push through. That they're going to have a playoff system. I mean, and whatever the requirements are to get in, it's going to be solely based on human eye test, whoever's doing the voting. And I think the best teams will ultimately still probably get in, unless that at that point in time they do have COVID issues, and then they have to forfeit the playoffs by themselves, almost having like their own sanctions.
How far do we have to go before we finally just realize that this thing's going to run our lives? You know what I mean? Like, we've tried to kick this to the curb how many times for how many months, and it's frustrating from our standpoint. I mean, DeWine was supposed to have a presser last night at 5:30. That got moved to tonight at 5:30. I mean, I don't think it was COVID related, but I am a little concerned. I know we were talking in our group text. I'm a little concerned about what is going to happen tonight, the conversation, because I've heard some of the rumors, and I'll be honest with you guys, it's not good. The things that I'm hearing that there's a possibility that football gets pushed back a couple weeks. I'm hearing there's a possibility that that basketball starts after the new year. I know we've discussed that at length. This shift could be bigger than the football one that we had earlier this year. Because if they push basketball past January 1st, they have to do something. They have to shorten the season.
Yeah, I mean, and from what I've heard with those rumors is that they start around January, and it's only going to be like a 14, maybe 16 game season. But even then, even when you look at that, and I was looking at if you do that, so that would be 7, maybe 8 weeks of basketball. That still pushes you towards the end of February, if not the first week of March. And then you got to have your playoffs. And now you've overlapped into the spring. What are you doing now to the spring? Are you extending their season into the summer?
Let's be honest. They don't care. They They don't care because they don't make any money off the spring until they get to the state championships. So they don't care. And you know who I'm talking about when I say they.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to the almighty buck. We talked about it yesterday. I'm really concerned about if you push the football season back 2 weeks. The whole idea was to end this thing before Thanksgiving. And I think that there was a lot of people that could get on board with that. Now, if you push it to where your state semis are going to be Thanksgiving weekend, and then the next you're into December, which is where you were in the first place. So I'm really concerned. I'm really troubled about what I'm hearing. I hope none of it's true. I hope it's just, one of those like we talked yesterday with AB, just wear your mask. This is your final warning kind of thing. Because if they start moving stuff up to 2 weeks from now, I mean, these football players, they've endured enough. They've endured enough. Soccer players. I mean, all these student athletes have endured enough. They're doing the right things to make sure that they can play. That was the whole thing. Wear your mask, play your season. What else do they have to do? There's a handful of teams left. Why are these guys getting penalized and these girls being penalized? It doesn't make sense to me.
I think they're going to wrap it all up next week because all you got to do is get through next weekend and it's done. Because your semifinals and everything are this week, and then next week you go into your championship games, and they wrap it up and be done with it. Put a little bow on it, pack all their money in their big suitcase that they've been stuffing full, and then say, okay, on to basketball. Let's shorten their season and put as much money in our pocket as we can, and then let's go to the spring. And you know what? Hey guys, you guys are going to have a shortened season now too. But hopefully we can get everything going down here to Columbus and you can put some more money in our pockets. I think everybody's season is going to get shortened across the entire board.
It's crazy to shorten the spring season again, just for the simple fact there's so many variables. It's already pretty short when it comes to time frame.
I don't think they're going to shorten like your practice, but they're going to say you're going to play less games. So instead of 27 games, they're going to say you get 18 games or you get 16 games and go that route. And they're going to have everybody the way it was set up for like soccer and everything, where they're going to have like their super districts where you go in there, and even how football was. It wasn't off computer point rankings. It was by coaches putting the people how they want to rank them. And then you go from there. I think that's what they're going to do across the board with everything now. Cause at least the ADs I've been talking to have said that's what they're going to have, these super regionals or super districts, and they're just going to go off of, coaches are going to vote where they think the people belong, and then you go from there.
You're talking about that's for basketball or that's for spring stuff?
Basketball, spring stuff, everything. Every sport did it this year except for football. I know when I say that is football, they did go and vote for where they put people, but those people didn't get to choose the bracket. The bracket was already set. Soccer, though, you got to pick on which bracket you went to. So a lot of teams avoided good teams in a bracket and went the other way. And they did that for volleyball as well. And they're going to do that for basketball. From everything I've been hearing is you're going to get seeded, and they're going to say, okay, number one seed, where do you want to go in the bracket? I want to go up here. Number two, where are you going in the bracket? We're going down there. And then they just roll through it.
The thing that bothers me the most, guys, about all of this is Chris hit the nail on the head, saying girls hoops starts next week. Decision needs to come quick. The OHSAA and the state are not giving anybody any insight as to what they're deciding. So, for instance, Springfield, Warren, JFK, nobody knows more than we do. You know what I mean? Nobody's alerted them to if there's going to be a decision made one way or the other, if they're going to actually push back a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the state semis. They have not showed their cards yet. And tonight is going to be a big old surprise for everybody. Like, you have to tell the people that are playing what is going on. And to Chris's point, you have girls hoops starting next week. If you're going to push back the season, there's a lot of people that should probably know about it before the mass media, right?
Yeah.
The mass public.
I mean, some of them are holding scrimmages tonight. But to Trent's comment, though, I don't think he's going to close schools. I think he might say something about, like, what we've all been hearing here in our school and other schools is they're saying you go on Thanksgiving break, you're done till January 19th.
Is that done or remote?
Remote.
Remote.
You're going to go remote because you figure if everybody's around a bunch of people in Thanksgiving, you need 2 weeks to try to let the virus go through. And then
I just, you know what's funny about that? Because if you're in the school, right? And I was talking to a teacher last night, and she said, "Do you know how many kids are excited for that? Because they're talking about how they're going to Minnesota and they're going to California for Christmas and for Thanksgiving so it's not like you're just isolating at home where you're doing your part. I mean, so many of these kids are, and it's a holiday, so you're going to be linking up with your family. So you're going to be going at shopping malls. Your parents are going to be going to work and doing things. So it's not as it's not a perfect plan."
Well, and that's why I think what everybody's saying about that is if you do something over Thanksgiving, instead of coming right back to school, because you'd come back to school like December 1st, instead of coming back to school, now you're going to have 2.5 weeks of quarantine, not quarantine, but like if you've been around somebody sick, you run the gamut of those 2 weeks of being around somebody. Then it comes right into Christmas. Now, Christmas, you're around people, New Year's, after that, 2 more weeks of kind of letting it filter through your system. Martin Luther King Day is on the 18th on a Monday, no school. January 19th, everybody's back in the buildings because if you've had anything over Christmas, it's run through your system and you should be disease free.
Let me ask you this. How pissed off do you think teams like Ursuline and South Range and who else lost last week? I'm missing
Canfield.
Canfield. How pissed do you think they are if this actually happens tonight? Especially
I'd be pissed. I'd be real pissed.
Yeah, I'll be fired up with me. Just to say that now you're going to play the season 2 weeks. Like, why couldn't you do it last week? What was the difference between last week and this week? And like, you were talking about college football, right? Like the NFL, like obviously Big Ben's on a protocol that if he came in close contact with someone, so is Baker Mayfield. Why can't these like colleges do like, okay, if that one person test is positive, obviously you have to contact trace, but if those contact traces come back with 2 negative tests, why can't you just get the season rolling and not play with that kid? Like, why can't you do that? Because they don't have COVID. At that point, they failed 2 back-to-back tests. Like, why do we have to delay the season, postpone it? Like, you think Trevor Lawrence would have loved to have Trevor Lawrence play against Notre Dame? That game would have been totally different. But he's out 21 days. Why can't we just figure it out and say, okay, all the contact traces come back negative, they can play. You have to sit out because you came in closer contact with somebody that had COVID.
I can't see Bailey. Somebody read that off. I can't see it.
Yeah, I'll read it, Paul, because I'll be the host today. Thank you. Do my voices for once. Eric Bailey chiming in saying, "Here's the trick: if we don't tell them, we will stay." Oh, geez, I'm pulling Jeff here.
Oh boy.
We will still take their money, and they can't do anything about it. But we have the kids and people's best interest in mind.
They don't
This
have the
segment
best.
brought to you by this segment brought to you by abcmouse.com, where you can learn to read.
They don't have the best interest. Jesus, man, you can make.
Shut up, Jeff. Leave me alone.
Hey, Quinn, don't yell at me.
Go to Coach Seidel's
Yeah.
comment here.
Yeah, somebody else read it. I can't read apparently.
Oh, jeez.
Coach Seidel says he's chiming in. I will not be surprised to see winter sports canceled and schools canceled. From OSHA standpoint, they got a chance to get financials back in black, so now they don't care. If winter gets shut down, spring will never happen.
I disagree with that.
And my problem with all of it is, I mean, I feel like so far high school football in the state of Ohio has went off very well, honestly. A lot better than I think a lot of people expected. There wasn't even that many cases. And we already saw in baseball what they were able to do in the summer. Baseball, I believe, when down at Scene, there was no cases. It was handled fantastically well. So I feel like if you're able to handle football season with very minimal cases, and I'm talking minimal, there was not many cases at all around the area, not to the point where a lot of games had to get canceled or postponed, and that's going to be your highest.
There was enough, though. There was enough cases.
Still, you're talking, I mean, basketball maybe a little bit more, but I mean, spring sports such as baseball and softballs, it's that one's the one that really doesn't make sense to me, because that is the one it's already been proven, at least throughout the summer league with theme park, that's a sport that can be played, and I mean,
Well, I think to make a decision on any type of spring activity is ridiculous right now. So I mean, yeah. So we're in that time frame where in the summer when we were not talking about any type of sports, just COVID here on the show, we were talking about this area, this time frame is November, flu season, sick season, when the weather breaks. So we're here, and yet we haven't made any adjustments. We haven't done anything different yet. There's no plan. It's still just seat of your pants day by day by day. And these elected officials, whether they're government run or whether it's high school run, they don't have an idea of what to do besides let's just try to play by play. So
when did they make the decision for spring last year? Wasn't it in May? Late May?
It was early.
To cancel?
Yeah, they had a week to decide before.
It was not May. It was before
May 29th.
So May 29th. So they're going to sit there and poke the bear that is spring sports already. You know what I mean? Because really, the dominoes start happening, right?
It was not May 29th, by the way. It was way earlier than that.
I don't think it was, Bill. I think they officially made the decision very late.
Because remember, the state got pissed because the state said if you would have done this a week earlier, they could have had an abbreviated season and had the playoffs.
Yeah, I thought it was like April or something.
No, I remember it being May for sure because we were holding on to hope for a spring season all the way through May.
Yep.
But my point is, how do they sit here in November and start? Well, spring sports is on the back burner. There's only one reason for that. There's only one reason to completely shove it down, and that's that spring sports doesn't bring much revenue. That is the only reason. Because to Ty's point, Class B is already proven, and it's distance-wise, it's the biggest distance sports there are. I mean, you talk about track, you talk about softball, you talk about baseball. It's a distance sport. So how do you sit there? And no offense to wrestling, how are you going to sit there and be on the fence with wrestling, which is to me the ultimate contact sport, and be like, well, we're thinking about wrestling is going to be okay, but baseball and softball, yeah, there's only one thing that could be about.
It kind of seems like they're just going to push the spring sports to the side and let the winter sports play in the spring because they would generate revenue or some type of money.
Then the OHSA needs to bow out of spring sports. They need to bow out, and they just need to let somebody else take over. Because at this point, I think there's a lot of athletic directors, there's a lot of organizations that are like, if somebody else came along at this point, there'd be a lot of schools that would jump ship.
Well, imagine if you were a junior last year, your spring season already got canceled. You're a junior that plays baseball, and now it's threatened to cancel your senior year. So your last 2 years of possibly playing baseball in high school are now out the window. And I mean, those might be chance where you can go on to play, college and everything. Now people can't really look at you. You got 2 years of your high school career taken off of you.
Yeah. Jamie, you know better than anybody. Your junior season and especially your senior season are your most important seasons from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Junior and senior years really are the biggest ones. That's when you truly get all the attention focused on you, and your coaches are really, working to push your name out there, push you to the next level. So to steal it away from them, it'd be a tragedy. It really would be. And kind of going back to what you guys were saying, baseball finally getting canceled in May? I can tell you from Hubbard's perspective, because I was, with the baseball team, everybody knew it since March that it was done, that there was really no chance. And they just continued to beat around the bush, and then they screwed everybody.
Hey, Quinn, go to Trent Conway's. I could see the OHSA saying that athletes have a vaccine before they can. We talked about this yesterday. Do you think that's not fair?
No, you can't do that. You're telling parents what they can do and what they can't do to their kids. That's right. That violates all kind of different laws, and there's no way you can do that. Now they can say, "Oh, you got to do that, or you don't play." There'll be enough of a pushback, and there'll be lawyers involved that they'll be like,
there would have to be
vaccinated to play.
You're talking. Well, they are. There's vaccinations that we have to become, go to school already, but it would have to pass through like the state legislate.
Well,
That would be the only way that would have to be that. I mean, you're looking at something that would have to pass through Ohio Supreme Court and all that stuff just to get that through, and that's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, there would also have to be a widespread enough of the vaccine for that to even happen. You have to have it readily available
Also
that
true.
every student can do it. You can't just have it where it's like, well, only some students can get it. It's first come, first serve. It has to be available to everyone to be able to get it.
And prove that it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Seidel kind of chiming in with that too. That you have to do certain vaccines to go into even kindergarten just to
But
go
we
to school.
talked about that yesterday.
But yeah,
Right.
but those are things that have been proven that work. You know, not this vaccine coming up with it so short. And I did watch the show yesterday, like you guys talked. You're coming up with something in like 6 months, 7 months, and you're going to say, well, okay, we hey, fingers crossed. We hope this works, but we say it works in some of these trials. No, the enter school and the kindergarten stuff. That's stuff that's been proven for 100 years that it works.
Coach Pletcher saying baseball season has little to do with recruiting. I could see that to an extent, but it also serves as a springboard for recruiting and for the travel teams that then most players get recruited from for college. So I can see that there's a domino effect, I think, that happens with high school baseball.
Yeah,
I know
the way our coaches always related to us is, we obviously want to win, but this is kind of like your spring training, so you can get ready to go and play summer baseball when people are really going to look at you. So whether you say it has little to do with recruiting or not, it still has to affect your performance, because if you're out there on an actual baseball field compared to being in the batting cage, it's going to be a lot different when summertime actually comes around.
But not to mention, I think the bigger tragedy, like I said, is just you're taking a junior and a senior year away from kids who are playing in high school sports. And I mean, that's not just baseball, that's all spring sports.
There's 2 seniors that we're going to host here at South Range that we're covering their NLIs today, that if they cancel spring sports, do you know how pissed they're going to be? That'll be 2 seasons essentially that they'll go without playing with their teammates that they would have had a chance at a state championship. I know I'd be upset.
Yeah, I think the spring sports talk right now is just way too premature. I mean, they got to concentrate on fall or winter right now. What are you going to do with basketball? What are you going to do with wrestling? That's what you need to concentrate on right now. I know Houston talked about the limitations in the stadiums that they're going to have, and that's great. But now you need to talk about what's happening. Is DeWine going to talk about schools? Or is DeWine going to talk about what's something else?
Dude, I was about to say the same thing that Charles said. Has everybody seen I Am Legend?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't see it.
if you haven't, you need to see it, because I feel like we're living it right now. It's insanity. They came out with a cure for cancer and everybody died. So, I mean, oh yeah, spoiler alert. But
That's okay. I probably won't watch it anyway.
Yeah, well, because you lost your password for Netflix, so sorry
No.
about your luck.
No, that's locked in. I was good. And if it's not on my computer, I got Hulu, I got Prime on my phone. I'm ready to go.
But the reality is yeah, I just feel like we're living some kind of movie right now that I thought we were past this. I thought we were making strides, and I think everybody knew that come the winter, with the flu season and everything but I mean, thinking about basketball and thinking about them pushing back basketball, again, it only tells me that the organizations are only in it. One organization is only in it for the cash, and it bothers me because you're robbing our student athletes. You're robbing opportunities. Think about how many What the hell is that?
That's a saw.
That's a saw.
I feel like we're on a set of Tool Time.
There it is. Billy.
Is the dog cutting wood?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree with your mom there too, DJ. But to Coach Seidel's point too about West Branch and United already moving online. I mean, like you already mentioned, Paul. I mean, the writing is kind of already on the wall about these schools already going remote. It's just now, do they come back is the question. And you talked about January 16th to get that break after all the holidays. But I mean, once schools are remote, it's going to be much easier for these people upper in office to be able to say, we're just not going to come back now. It's too risky. And it's one of those things. If you already have them out of school, you could just say, nah, just stay home now, and then you don't have to deal with as much repercussions, I don't think, because kids aren't actively going to school.
Yeah, I mean, but like, to where DJ was talking about too with the money aspect, and that's the big thing. If they shrink the season, which we've seen them do in football, what did that do? That hurt the gates of high schools. If they shrink the season in basketball, less high school basketball games that the schools get to charge. But what doesn't get affected? Your playoffs.
Yeah.
They still have the same amount of playoffs, and they get to make more money and sit there and still get poor, but stuff their pockets.
I got the solution for you. I just came up with it right now. You're welcome. You ready? 10% of all ticket sales go to the OHSAA. You guys will play a 72-game season with playoffs. With I mean, come on. Like, if anybody else doesn't see this, you're blind. Like this kind of blind. Like wearing these sunglasses with a stick, blind.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised now too. Like to your point, Paul. Let's just see. They're gonna have that announcement. Oh, the basketball playoffs are expanding now. We're gonna let more teams in.
Double elimination.
Everybody gets in. Yeah.
Everybody gets in.
Well, no, I know everyone gets in, but we're gonna expand.
Here's the trick: double elimination.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. We're gonna do like 3-game series now.
Do you know how pissed off people would be for a double elimination state tournament? You might as well be in a gym in Struthers.
Yeah. Best of 3. Here
Coincidentally, going to get expanded to more games now.
Sing.
Yeah. It's sad to see what like we said, the writing's on the wall. What they're doing, it's blatant what they're doing. They're still doing it right now. In football, with what they're doing to some of these schools and these ADs, like with the money that they're telling them they have to pay and all that. It's sad, but they don't care. They just care about that almighty dollar, not daughter.
They better not care about my daughter.
Yeah, no daughters. But obviously they don't care about any daughters. They want the money, and it's sad.
Paul, did you hear about the price going up? We talked about it yesterday. It goes from $12 to $15 a ticket.
Yeah, when I was talking to the AD of Springfield, he told me that he's like, it's going up 15. They're going to get charged $3 to park. They got to drive 2.5 hours, pay for charter buses themselves, feed the kids, and the state's getting all the money from the gate and giving them nothing.
Well, Coach Seidel, yep, that's what I was about to say. That's exactly what they're going to do. A 10-game season, and then we're going to be playing 3, 5, 7-game series in the playoffs with everybody in.
You imagine how fast they'll look the other way on this COVID thing if they got 72 games and a best of 5 series. I mean, like, how many times do we have to stub our toe on this to realize that we're at their mercy, and that's the thing. The schools have zero power until somebody else comes along and they go, listen, here's the way out. Here's another organization, because quite frankly, the governing body that is the OH, has too much power. And it's frustrating, not just for us, but it's frustrating for us to watch because athletic directors are completely at the mercy of this organization. And the organization doesn't have the kids, the communities, the schools, the athletic directors, the team's best interest in mind. I mean, they've showed it over and over and over. And I hate that we're kicking this dog, but the dog ain't learning.
No.
It's just not, they will not just back away.
To me, all they do is hold tournaments and then claim a state champion. That's about all they're worth right now at this point, in my mind. That's
Which
all
is
they're
no
worth.
different than what you can do in a beer league. You know what I mean? Like the schools are governing themselves essentially.
Yeah.
And you have people. We've seen it for a long time. Dropping tips and dropping this. I mean, Ursuline is the school I feel most for right now because I feel like there's still a little bit more to that story. We're not going to get into it, but if I'm Coach Reardon, I'm pissed off beyond belief, and not at my people. I'm pissed off at the way things were handled. And especially if Governor DeWine comes out tonight and says, because of COVID, we are, everything's no. Like, no. I can't even tell you what I do because I probably shouldn't say it in case something ever happens. But I'd be so upset. And my heart goes out to him. My heart goes out to for what they went through and still continued to play and did their best and put their best foot forward. Kudos to them.
And the bad thing is that some people might be sitting there going, oh, they can't do that. I mean, look how close they are to the end. They wouldn't do that to these kids. Look.
Oh, yes, they would.
Look what they did to basketball last year. You had a team on the floor ready to play their game, and they go, hey, pack your shit up. You're out of here. Goodbye. And it's like, no, you already had a bag. Put it down.
No!
That's your college fund.
That's right. So it's like, you're darn right they would do this to somebody. I mean, it's Wednesday, and these games are going to get played Friday and Saturday, and absolutely they could pull the rug out from them. Do I personally think they're going to do that? I don't think they're going to do that right now. But I think they are definitely going to put the screws to winter sports and do something to them, and then it's just going to be a ripple wave all the way back into spring as well. So I don't think any sport this year is going to have a full season. I would be shocked if anybody had a full season.
Quinn, get us to break.
Like a traditional full season.
Exactly. A traditional 10-game football season, a traditional 27 baseball, 22 basketball. I mean, I got schedules already today that are not a full 22 schedule from high schools. They're only scheduling like 18 games just because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah,
break.
we're going to break. I'm trying to get everything going here. I have a newfound respect for you, DJ, and all this stuff. So we're going to be right back.
21
Good evening,
News.
and thank you for joining us.
Let's get right to our top
More
story
experienced
reporters. A new Wilmington restaurant
GM Lordstown.
telling more local stories. We'll look at
Baby boy is recovering from a broken
around our
Good
valley.
afternoon. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
Important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
That he's working for you.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Hi. Nice to see you guys. Doing my best. New topic for all of you, because it's the only one that's on this board that we haven't covered yet. And that was yesterday's show. We're going to go with this one. Duke is not allowing fans in Cameron. Now, Jamie, I know you're a big UNC guy. How important is this, not having fans, the Cameron Crazies?
I mean, obviously, it's very impactful for any game that's being played at Cameron Indoor. I've been there in person. I watched them play Georgia Tech, and they were up by 40 probably an entire game, and they were still going crazy the entire freaking time. It doesn't matter if they're down by 40, up by 40, or if it's a close game. They are always all in, selling out. So this is huge for Duke, and obviously it's going to tell for really the rest of the stadiums all around the country.
I think Duke will be okay. There's a lot of money into those players, that cash money. So
Yeah, I mean, it'll affect them because I mean that's a huge home court advantage to have all those people packed in there and going nuts. And from people I know who've gone down there to see those games in Cameron, they say it's hot as hell inside that gymnasium. That's what they do on purpose. And you pack all those people in there, and it's just the atmosphere is unbelievable. But not having fans in there, I mean, it's going to be almost just like a scrimmage every game because there's just going to be just you in the court and hearing the coaches yell. So,
I mean, we've already seen it too with NBA. It definitely affects like the watching of the games because I mean, I feel like any game is not as fun without the fans. Like I said, and I alluded to it a few weeks ago. It's even with football, like watching the Chiefs play. It's not the same watching them play in Arrowhead without how loud that stadium can get with everyone doing like the tomahawk chop and everything. It's not the same. And I mean, I think like we said, I mean, this year especially, we've come to realize how important having fans in a packed stadium is to the viewing of sports and how much that plays a role in the enjoyment of watching sports on television.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything else like if any other teams that are doing this. Have you guys?
No.
But just the idea of not having fans at their stadium or like the student section?
Yeah, like just student sections and all of it, like really all of it, honestly.
Well, I think it's going to be a trend that's going to go around the country. I don't think you're going to see student section at any place this year. I think this is just the first wave of the schools doing it. The schools just don't want to put kids at risk. I mean, that's at the end of the day, they want to avoid lawsuits. So this is one way to do it.
Notre Dame
they got to deal with it.
Notre Dame had no problem.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you beat a backup quarterback who happen to be a number one rank.
Hey,
did you see my beef yesterday?
You guys like kind of see the opposite happening though? Some teams are going to say, well, since nobody else is doing it, that'll create a better atmosphere for us and help us.
See the flip side of
It'd be
that,
risky. Yeah, it'd be risky though, being one of those schools. If you kind of just do allow some fans in, and if something goes wrong, the whole conference can point at you and be like, "Yeah, those are the guys right there. It's their fault."
Yeah, I think schools kind of like the NFL. Everything's a copycat, so they're gonna trend with each other. I think the only way that happens is you're gonna look at like states kind of saying, "Hey, we're okay. We're gonna allow things like Ohio was one of the ones that in the NFL allowed fans in general to be at stadiums. I think now everybody kind of has NFL fans in there. I could be wrong, but we were one of the first ones to allow fans in there, and I think that's the only way that's going to happen again is the state's going to allow fans in your stands.
I mean, college schools, right, they're really stuck between that rock and a hard place, though, because, I mean, we see both high schools and then professional sports. They're able to kind of not contain this, but, I mean, it's not nearly as bad as it is with college sports, and that's because college they travel between states like a pro team does, but unlike, the high school teams, but they don't have the money like the pro teams to try to contain it. So they're really stuck between that where they have to travel state to state, but they don't really have the money to do like a big bubble, I guess, per se. And like the money like the NFL does, I guess, to do the testing as often, or any professional sport where they're able to do the testing right before the games or as many times a week. I think that's where colleges are really like, they're kind of stuck with it where it's like, we're trying to have a season, but it's at the whim of the people that are there.
So one more topic that I decided to just
I would imagine they'll do their own mini version.
How about this one? Tom Izzo diagnosed with COVID. What does that mean for Michigan State?
Nothing.
2 weeks.
Throw the assistant in there.
You guys see that affecting it at all, though? Tom Izzo being out of their program?
2 weeks. Are they playing in 2 weeks?
He's still going to probably be at home and Skype with them and send his plans to there. And in 2 weeks, he'll be right back there at practice and like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably draw up all the practices and how he wants things to be ran, and he'll be in constant communication with his staff. His staff's been with him for quite a while, right? There's a couple of those guys that have been with him for years. So, I mean, you could say as much as it is. Let's just we're not going to say it's not Tom Izzo, but his staff is a big part of his success too. So because a lot, especially with I think two of those guys have been there for a long time, so they know how the show is supposed to be run, and it would be practice and everyday normal.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be the same thing.
Go ahead, Jamie.
It'll probably be the same thing they did with Nick Saban. I mean, when Nick Saban thought he had COVID, went and locked him away. Wasn't he up in the press box a few times just watching? So they'll probably just do the same thing. Izzo will be watching in, but obviously it's going to affect him a little bit. Izzo is the huge part of why that program is so good. He's a great recruiter. He's a great coach. So, yeah, it's going to affect Michigan State.
How much do you think as far as we've already kind of seen it too a little bit with the drafts already, but if these schools, these college sports, like football and if basketball can't really even have a full season, how's that really going to affect these drafts then for the next coming years? How are you going to be able, you obviously you have tape of high school, you run them through combines and everything, but it's going to be a lot weirder. I don't think you're going to see many clear cuts this is the number one guy, and I think the drafts are going to look a lot different as far as the guys coming out of it of who's going to be great, because you're not going to have much of that college game time experience if this keeps on continuing, right?
I think the good thing about basketball, right? I think about basketball, the great thing about it is there's really, limited rounds. So it's not like football where there's 7 rounds and then free agent signings after that. So you don't have to deal with so many players. Basketball is a little bit, I think basketball seems to be a little bit easier, in my opinion, okay, to scout for at that type of level, at the elite level. You're really looking for a couple key things. Can you really shoot? Can you shoot with, can you shoot in somebody's face? Can you have a quick release? Can you get yourself open? Can you attack the basket? Size is a big thing. If you're not big, you basically got no chance. And certain teams kind of have an idea of what they're looking for to fit their scheme. So just because there's 5 players available, they're looking for this type of guy to kind of fit their scheme or to help their scheme become a little bit better.
So let me ask you this then, I guess all of you guys, how does the international prospect work now, given all this stuff? How scouting work with that?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a big one because you're probably not getting out there as much as you like. That technology is going to be the only way to do it, maybe, unless you got conversations with people who are already out there, kind of running those areas across Europe and Asia and wherever else.
Or the question is, do you want to bring those international guys in?
Yes, if it helps you win, absolutely.
Do you worry about that? Do you worry about bringing some guy over from a foreign country over to here, worrying about COVID issues? So,
well, I don't know if there's restrictions in some of the countries, but I know there's a lot of countries that don't let you travel in and out of the country. So, yeah. You might run into issues with that. As far as saying, well, you can't leave the country right now until the restrictions are lifted. So, there's all kinds of issues, especially running into the international. You might want to draft that guy. You might want to bring him over, but you might not have him playing on your team for the first season because they're not going to.
I guarantee you.
All right. Hey,
guarantee you.
I'll see you guys.
Oh, bye. Wow. I guarantee you there would be no issues with those players coming over and playing. None. You're talking about, listen, we had a ban for Cuba for years, okay? You're not allowed to do any business with Cuba, and yet Cuban baseball players were coming over. You see what I'm saying? That was a federal crime. You think COVID's going to stop anybody, like a major corporation like the NBA or the MLB or the NFL, from getting these guys in? No, there's no chance. If they get drafted, and the NBA, the only reason why the NBA doesn't happen sometimes is because their contract is owned by another team across the country. So you got to buy them out, and then it's up to them to make that decision. Right, Quinn?
Yeah, absolutely. So then with, I guess, coming over, there's a top prospect that's coming from Israel this year. He's one of the top 10 draft picks most likely. What do you do if you draft him? Do you put him on a 2-week COVID, I guess, screening sort of thing, kind of like what the NFL has done with their trades and free agents and stuff, or what do you do?
I feel like that'd be really the only logical thing that you could do. I personally, I'd have no problem bringing him in right now. Hey, come on, let's go, let's get going. But if you want to get him in here, you probably are going to have to isolate him. And if you're going to be comfortable enough to make that pick, obviously, he's very good, but game tape is going to be huge. And then you're going to put a lot of trust in your scout that is over there. If you think that this is a guy you can really rely on, and you're going to see if these, I guess you'd say, organizations have that much trust in one of these scouts. Like, do I really trust this guy?
I mean, also with the NBA looking to they're going to be starting out on Christmas now, or it's going to be a late start. I don't think it's going to affect them as much now. They could get these guys in. They can put them in the 2 weeks. I feel like since it's starting later, it's not going to affect them as much as it would if it was like a regular season. But yeah, it's going to definitely it'll be interesting to see too, because now we don't have summer hoops since the playoffs kind of happened there. So now you're going to have this draft happen. I mean, it's going to be essentially like fall basketball, I guess, if they're going to be doing any kind of scrimmages, which they may or may not. So, I mean, you might see a lot of these green rookies coming in, getting drafted, and they might not make an immediate impact like we've seen some guys do in the past because they haven't really had that real in-game experience with NBA level talent yet, or, with other, top flight college prospect level talent, because that's usually what you have in the summer hoops. So it's going to be interesting, guys. I mean, we've already talked about it. In-game experience is a clear-cut difference between that and just practicing.
Yeah. What do you guys see, like the international prospects, their stock kind of falling now? Can you see them sliding in the draft, given that they're international prospects compared to being here?
No, I think the better. I mean, these scouts and guys who do statistics for all these, for the NBA are amazing at what they do, and they're pretty. If they tell the NBA whatever affiliate they're with, they say, hey, we want to draft this guy. This guy's a playmaker. I mean, look at some of the international stars that's come in the league in the past 10 years, 15 years. There's some really good ones. So if they're going to make or break your team, I mean, competitive level aside, they're here to win games. If they don't win, they get fired. So they want the best players available. So if they think that international star is a great player, they're going to go out and draft him no matter what round or pick.
Are there any professional leagues going on overseas? Do you guys know, like around Europe or Australia, even if they have anything going on?
I know Korean baseball went off pretty well. That's what I know that for sure.
Because I would say if there were like any major basketball leagues that would be going on, if you had good prospects in there, that'd really be the only way you could raise your stock, is if you're actually out playing and you're still kind of in it, getting that in-game experience. So, but stock-wise, I mean, you could see it fall maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't think enough. Like kind of like what Billy Mack said, if they trust their scout, the scout thinks this is the best guy to go and get, and the rest of the office agrees with, why not do it?
That's a great point too, Jamie, because if they're sitting there playing in overseas, if they were able to play like these last few months, and these college level kids here in the U.S. haven't really been able to play, their draft stock might actually go up since they've been playing. They've had that in-game experience. Granted, it might not be against talent from here, because we know talent from the U.S. is significantly higher than a lot of talent around the world. But I mean, still playing in-game basketball with other high level athletes over there. You might not significantly. You might not see a guy that's second round to go in the first round now in the NBA, but you might see someone jump a couple picks just because they've been able to watch them play, rather than the college kids not really getting those playoffs too. I think that's really going to hurt some of these college kids' draft stocks.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Euro basketball or anything like that. I know it was canceled earlier, like back in May, it got canceled. But since then, not really. And yes, Greg, DJ was at a signing for South Range, so he'll be back tomorrow. Instead, you get to deal with me. So,
maybe. It might be such a great day that we just decide to take over, and he's no longer with us.
Well, let me tell you this.
Power Hour.
Until you take over running this whole backside stuff, DJ's back.
New show on Ysn, we're calling it Foursquare.
Foursquare. Hey, I like it.
That's fine by me. I kind of enjoy that too, actually. As long as I don't have to run it, though. That's the biggest problem. But anyway, since Greg commented, it's time for the beef. I don't know how to do the box thing, though, so we're going to do it by fours because I have no idea how to zoom in. So, Jamie, we'll start with you.
The beef. I don't know, really. I haven't been beefing with too much today. I didn't have school, so I'm living. Happy Veterans Day, obviously, to everybody. It was a great day. I guess I could say beef I'll go back to the NBA kind of draft look. I mean, look at the guys like John Morant who were really able to just boost their draft stock with 1 year, and really Obi Toppin last year. I mean, it's just always great to see. I'm a huge college basketball guy. I don't really love the NBA, but it's always fun to watch these guys just kind of come out of nowhere and just elevate all the way to the top. And it's Masters Week, baby. Let's go get it. Tiger Woods.
He hasn't gotten cut yet.
Can't get cut before you start unless you get COVID. Ask Sergio Garcia.
Keep it here, Jamie. Before we move on to Ty, who do you think is going to win the Masters?
Tiger.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God.
No, honestly, if I had to put my money on anybody, I mean, Bryson's the favorite right now, but I guess Bryson, man. Bryson just looks so good. I think he might be able to really handle the Masters. They said the Open was going to stop him. That really didn't happen.
How about that guy that skipped the ball over the water to get that hole in one?
That was incredible.
I was like, what the hell was that?
I thought it was a fake video.
I thought it
was a fake video. I'm like, there's just no way that happened.
I've never seen anybody connect on it. Like, I've seen them try it, but I've never seen anybody get a hole in one off of it.
It was like if you miss it, if it goes in the water, you're screwed. So like I would, as a pro, I wouldn't even try that shot. That's like one of those. Watch this, guys. Hold this.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. But anyway, Ty, beef. What do you got?
My beef is with that organization down there near the Columbus area. Quit being all about the money. You got kids that are here waiting to play spring sports that are ready to play winter sports. You were able to play fall sports with minimal damage, and quit thinking about profit for once and try to be for the kids, and don't take away their senior year and take away a lot of these kids' last chance to really play a sport that they love.
Mac, what do you got?
Yeah, my beef is just with the world as we live in it today. Just kind of getting, Debbie Downer. It's getting gloom. I'm so sick of just the negativity in the world today, and I'm very, COVID done with it. Like, I'm just over it. I just want to go back to maybe not just back, but I want to move forward in some way, and we need to find answers to move forward and not to kind of hit pause on anything. So let's move forward.
Greg's throwing shade at me, but hey, yes, I do need him back. Thank you. And I can see he's not too impressed, but nevertheless, thanks, Greg. Love the support. All right, my beef. Obviously, I'm sure you guys could all guess where this is going to go. It's with DJ today. I don't know what I'm doing at all. I'm unprepared, which is kind of on me, I guess, at the same point. But there's so many different things that go into this. I don't know boxes. I don't work all this stuff. I'm feeling like Steve, so I don't know what to do. But I've had fun. I've had fun with it. I'm not going to lie to you. But thank you, guys. You three that remained. Paul bailed on me, and Jeff did whatever Jeff did. And DJ bailing as always. But hey, you know what? It's okay. It's okay.
I think it's hilarious that yesterday DJ was like hyping the show up today. Like, it's going to be a special edition of the Power Hour. Scott,
it was special, all right. It was very special.
And then the final four remain.
Thank you, Mommy Oakley. I appreciate it. See, at least somebody's got me.
We got you here, Q. We're all behind you, man.
Hey, we're here. That's the thing. We support you because we're here.
Yep.
So
I think you're just here to watch me crash and burn, but that's okay.
Probably going to be talking about the Wines press conference tomorrow on the Power Hour for Thursday's edition.
I'm sure we will. I don't know. That's going to be on DJ to come up with something. I need more than a day to prepare. But anyway, wow. I'm trying.
See, getting all kinds of love.
Yeah, I'm trying. But anyway, any final thoughts, guys? You got anything?
So, hey, stay tuned for tomorrow, because tomorrow might be fire. We might not even talk about NFL football tomorrow.
Honestly,
which is what we normally do on Thursdays.
Depending on what happens tonight at 5:30, there might be a lot to talk about tomorrow.
We might be in overtime. Make up for a couple minutes we missed for today.
No, we're going to be right on the hour. This is going to be perfect. Jeff, you're in charge next time.
Jeff's just mad that he sucks at gambling. That's really what it comes down to. Jeff can't gamble.
I booted him off the show too, just because I had that kind of power. So, I felt, Power Hour. I was in charge. Jeff's gone. See ya. But anyway, I've tried. I hope it was fun. Who knows? I don't know. I had fun with it. But anyway,
we're good.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Thank you for all your service. I'm sure the four of us really appreciate it, and everybody that bailed on it as always. But we all appreciate what you guys do for us, and thank you, and happy Veterans Day. For Mac, Ty, Jamie, I'm Quinn. Little short on it. No overtime. Anyway, see you guys later. See you tomorrow.